Hi, my name is Vays. I'm a former Wall Street risk analyst and former trader, 15 years trading experience. Joined the blockchain Bitcoin world in 2013, started writing my first articles in 2014 and appearing at conferences as a speaker and on YouTube channels. Now I run my own YouTube channel. It's one of the most popular ones in the world, talking about Bitcoin analysis, price analysis, all the latest news, and how it affects the economy and the whole Bitcoin system as a whole. I think Bitcoin has this amazing dynamic between finance, money, and technology. Financial technology that Bitcoin is bringing to the world is a new gold standard. It's basically the economic policy, the economic model of Bitcoin is written into the code, and it's unchangeable. That's what makes Bitcoin so valuable. The fact that it's unconfiscatable value, the fact that it's censorship-resistant value transfer. And those properties make Bitcoin so unique that I think it's going to be worth a lot more in the future. I think it'll take a little while. I think Bitcoin got a little out of hand. The price of Bitcoin went up from $1,000 in early 2017 all the way to $20,000 by the end of 2017. A price bubble like that takes a little bit of time to work itself out. I still see lower prices the rest of this year. I do see a bottom in Bitcoin showing up somewhere between $1,300 and $5,000 at some point next year. And once it does, we should slowly get back to a new all-time high. I believe before the next halving in May of 2020, we should be above the $20,000 mark. Honestly, I don't think it's all that significant. I don't think that much about these things. When it comes to the developing world, there are countries like Venezuela, like in Iran, other countries, there's not a lot of wealth in those countries with the common people. We heard this about Zimbabwe a few years ago. So when it says that they're aggregating on the full Bitcoin, what it means is somebody bought a few $100s worth of Bitcoin. People were able to charge them such a high premium on that such a small amount that had they had the ability to buy a full Bitcoin, it would have been that expensive. And I think those statistics are very misleading, but that's what I have seen so far. What's important to me is when people buy multiple Bitcoins at a time, and how much are they willing to pay for that. And I haven't seen that from the developing world that has major currency problems. What I am looking forward to Bitcoin helping is if the next time there is another Greek banking crisis, the next time there is another Cyprus banking incident, that's when people in Europe, people in first world countries, people that have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime of hard work, and when these people get scared that the value in the bank that they've saved their whole life is at risk, they're going to look to alternatives. And hopefully the one alternative they settle on is Bitcoin, because that's the right one. I don't believe there is individual people that hold that much Bitcoin. Sure, we have early adopters like Roger Ver, but even Roger Ver might have already sold many of his Bitcoins because he now believes in Bcash. There may be a handful of individual people, but I don't worry about those people. It's more funds like Tim Draper, for example, or Mike Novogratz. They are holding hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins, but they're holding them on behalf of many clients. They're holding them on behalf of many investors in their fund. So yes, somebody like Tim Draper or somebody like Mike Novogratz have the ability to sell a lot of Bitcoin and crash the market. But that's okay, because that just means the Bitcoin will get more distributed amongst the people that actually believe in Bitcoin as a new world currency, as opposed to just an investment for rich investors in their funds. So it's something that doesn't really worry me all that much, even though there is a possibility of some big funds potentially selling a large amount of Bitcoin. I still trade a little bit, but in the traditional space. I still manage my self-directed IRA, formerly 401k with companies. But the reason why, there's a couple of reasons why I don't actively trade Bitcoin. One of them is Bitcoin is a 24/7 market. And if you are going to trade Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it needs to be a full-time job. You need to sit in front of a computer as much as you can and watch it. My lifestyle of traveling the world, trying to explain Bitcoin to people, educating people how to be traders in my workshop, make it a little difficult for me to trade a 24/7 market like Bitcoin. In addition, I respect Bitcoin too much to actively trade it because I only trust myself with the possession of Bitcoin's private keys. I find that people are too trusty and they let companies like Coinbase and BitPay and exchanges hold on to their Bitcoin that they really shouldn't. I believe that if you're going to hold Bitcoin long term and you believe in Bitcoin, you should hold on to your own private keys and be your own bank. And when you keep your Bitcoin on an exchange, they're at risk of a hack, internal or external, and I don't want to put my Bitcoin in risk like that. I believe that Bitcoin sits at a different level. Bitcoin is the only decentralized project we have in the space. To me, the definition of blockchain is very, very clear. To me, the definition of blockchain is what Satoshi invented, and that is just proof of work. So if you're not proof of work, you're not a blockchain. But if you're proof of work, you're competing with Bitcoin's proof of work. Bitcoin is the most decentralized, it has the most developers, it has the most number of nodes, it has the biggest mining distribution. Bitcoin is the only true decentralized project. And I don't see multiple blockchains in the future the way we don't have multiple internets today. I think 95% of everything that's going on calling itself a blockchain is just a database. And if they're not centralized already, it can function so much more efficiently as a centralized means. If you're not censorship resistant, if you're not decentralized transfer of data, if you have to be completely in the virtual world, because if anything you do involves the physical world, even forming a company or having a CEO, anything in the real physical world is at risk of censorship because the government can show up, they can arrest you, they can regulate you. So the only way you succeed as a blockchain is if you are Satoshi and no one knows who you are or where you are. At the end, when it's all said and done, altcoins would show that Bitcoin is superior to those altcoins. But for the time being, all of these altcoins are confusing the new investors or the new people interested in Bitcoin and blockchain. 3 or 4 years ago, you ask the average person in the crypto space, what do I do? And they'll tell you, well, of course you got to buy Bitcoin. Of course you got to use Bitcoin. Today, the average person is more interested in making money on some ICO that came out 3 weeks ago just to make a quick return and get out. And it's really confusing people coming in. A lot of people are buying into the wrong coins because they've been told the wrong stuff. So I think it's confusing the market and slowing down adoption. But as far as underlying technology, Bitcoin is stronger than ever. And while all this fighting is going on, the developers are able to just code under the hood of Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin's mass adoption comes, it'll be technologically ready and stable to handle it. I don't think Ethereum is going to be stable long term. Ethereum has way too much data being transferred on its blockchain every 12 seconds. And it's almost impossible to download the entire history of Ethereum's transactions and process your own transactions, which is absolutely critical for the decentralization of your project. So I don't see Ethereum being a stable layer going into the future. So I'm a little worried about all the projects being built on top of Ethereum. Ethereum also has a huge conflict of what is the Ethereum token? Is it a currency? Is it gas being burned? What is it? Different people consider the Ethereum token to be a different thing. Bitcoin's mission is clear. Bitcoin is here to compete with the US dollar, with the euro, and with gold as money itself. And that's what really matters. Ethereum just wants to do everything and anything, and I believe it will fail sooner or later. And again, all of these algorithms, they might say that they're different, but at the end of the day, people still have to pay for the same electricity, and people still have to invest in hardware. If you're going to make a giant investment to mine that coin, are you going to invest that money into a system that may fail any moment, or you're going to invest that money in a system that is more likely to hold into the future? And again, give it a little more time, and I believe that Bitcoin will go back to 95, 98, 99% dominance in all of crypto space, not only from the market cap perspective, but also from the mining side and across the board. I find that interesting that people are trying to make stable coins because they don't believe in USDT, which is Tether. Tether is a stable coin. Tether is the most successful stable coin. And everyone understands why Tether is a major risk. Tether has grown too big for its own good. Tether is now several billions of dollars, and there are lots of speculations and assumptions that Tether is running a fractional reserve and they are not fully backing the Tether token. I can't prove that they are or they aren't fractionally reserved, but what I can say is, as Tether grows bigger and bigger, it creates a huge risk, because at any moment in time, the US government can show up and take the underlying dollars. They can simply say, hey, we don't like the fact that this Tether is being used anonymously, it's being used for criminal transactions, and we are going to confiscate the dollars underneath. And Tether just collapses. I don't understand how any other stable coin can eliminate the risk of any government, whether it's US, Swiss, Chinese, Russian, it doesn't matter. If you have X amount of money backing your stable coin at the bank, the government of that currency or the government of the bank where you're holding that currency can show up and take the underlying asset, making your stable coin completely worthless, which is why I don't understand why people want to create new stable coins other than it's a business and they can somehow make money off of that. I don't really necessarily like those promises that following some guy and trading, following that person will make you rich. I can't see that possibly being true. Being a trader for 15 years, I do believe that there are many traders that can successfully trade the market. Where I usually have a problem is, if you're a successful trader, just trade. Why do you have to sell what you do? I take the opposite approach. I teach people how to be traders. I don't tell them what to trade. I teach them how to be traders so they never have to join a Telegram group like that. I teach you so you make your own decisions and you don't have to follow anybody else. If you have to follow another trader, you will absolutely fail. If you want to make money from trading, there is two ways you can do it. One, you learn how to do it yourself and you make only your own decisions. Or you hand your money to a professional, licensed money manager that is going to do it for you. But following another trader, I believe, is very dangerous, and it's a way to lose all your money. I've been a big fan of technical analysis my whole life. When people say I'm a fundamental analyst, I don't think they understand what fundamental analysis is. Fundamental analysis is the complete understanding of your underlying asset. Fundamental analysts that trade in the stock market, they run giant hedge funds. They have a whole team of analysts. They have people that are going through every single public statement. People that are showing up and sitting in front of companies, looking at how many customers and people are going through the door. They have people paying insiders like, hey, you work with this company, I'll pay you for a meeting, tell us what it is. That is fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis is finding out stuff almost nobody else knows. When people say the news, what you hear in the news is fundamental analysis, no, that's what you hear in the news. By the time you hear it in the news, it's too late. The fundamental analysis in crypto, to me, is very simple. Bitcoin is the only crypto asset that is worthy of investment grade. By that, I mean you can put your money into Bitcoin and you can hold it in there for 3 to 5 years. It's reasonable. It'll still be here. It may be worth less. It should be worth more, but it will be here. I don't believe there is a single other asset that I would ever lock up a single dollar in for the next 3 years, because I think there is a greater than a 50% probability that any other asset will lose more than 90% of its value. And I've been saying that for a while, and most of them have lost 90% of its value just in 2018 alone, and I think they're going to fall a lot more. So a lot of people don't understand that technical analysis is not capable of predicting news events, and neither is fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis will tell you if your project is sound. So I always find it an excuse as to why you lost money in the market, or why you want to enter a token because you saw some YouTuber talk about it and you don't even know if he got paid by that company or that token to talk positively about that token, and you feel that that is fundamental analysis by listening to someone else talk about a project. So I think that view is misguided, but the price doesn't lie. I look at the charts, and the charts tell me all I need to know. They're not going to be right 100% of the time, but if you are a good chart reader, if you understand technical analysis, and you are fully aware of upcoming news events or upcoming current events in the asset that you're in, and you can lower your risk if you're unsure of what that event may bring, or you have an idea of what that event is going to bring, and you can adjust your risk accordingly. That's how the average person trades, unless you want to start paying for a team of 12 people to basically read every single document related to your underlying asset. If you're looking at the charts and the charts aren't making sense to you, then maybe you shouldn't trade that asset. If you're looking at the charts and they do make sense to you, but every trade you make turns out to be a bad trade, maybe you shouldn't trade that asset. You don't have to trade crypto. So many people came into crypto because it was so easy to start trading, and now they're upset and they're blaming everything on manipulation. Oh my God, the price went up, it's manipulation because I expected it to go down. Now I expect it to go up and the price crashed, it's manipulation. It's not manipulation, it's a guy with more money than you make in a trade. If you don't like the fact that Bitcoin can move $300 to $400 in one day, go trade Apple stock. This is what you chose. I prefer to trade the traditional markets because I am able to profit more consistently with less risk in the traditional markets. I know that Bitcoin can move $1,000 in a day because it's not very liquid, and many people can move the market. So don't complain that your asset is too volatile, because there is 1,000 other assets you can trade, so go trade those. So that's what I tell people. Just because you chose to trade Bitcoin and you're not able to make money, maybe you shouldn't be trading, or get some education and become a better technical analyst. The mind of a veteran trader is very different than the mind of a brand new trader. A seasoned trader has seen bull and bear markets. A seasoned trader has survived bad times in their life of trading, because everyone has gone through a rough patch. Everyone has destroyed their entire trading account, and then they came back with lessons learned. It's fascinating to me how many traders there are in the crypto space that have never traded before crypto, and they think this is a brand new world. This is what the world was like in the 1920s, when the stock market went up 400% in a few years, leading into the Great Depression and the big stock crash of 1929. Stock market crashed 23% in 1987. And guess what? Stock market went up from 1993 all the way to 2000, insanely high. None of this is new. The only thing that's new is slightly better technology, the internet, the speed of the internet, cryptocurrency that has removed all barriers to entry, no age restriction, no geographical restriction, no financial restriction. You're in India, you have your whole family has $200, and you think you know crypto, and you're gonna take your family's money of $200 and you're gonna go gamble it in this crypto ICO space. I think that is gonna end very, very badly. So the whole removal of all barriers to the entry of trading has created so many traders that have no idea what they're doing. And that's one of the reasons the market got so high in 2017, and it's one of the reasons why it's gonna go extra low in 2018. My life in Bitcoin has always been in the realm of education. I was a high school teacher and a college professor before I worked on Wall Street for 10 years, and I wanted to utilize my skills of education as I transition into the world of Bitcoin, and I try to teach people how to trade. I provide almost everything I do for free. Please check out my YouTube channel, Vays YouTube channel, Vays on Twitter, vays.com. I have a page that teaches you how to trade for free. But if you need a little more hands-on, I teach a workshop twice a month somewhere in the world. Those I charge for. I only accept 20 to 40 people per workshop, and I want to teach you how to trade so that you never have to ask me or anybody else questions again. You can go ahead and choose if you want to do that as a career, but you have to do it properly and safely. So I don't really have anything to promote other than Bitcoin. Believe in Bitcoin. Don't chase the money. Yes, you missed the early boat on Bitcoin. I missed it as well. It doesn't mean you're gonna get a second chance. Historical innovation comes once in a lifetime, and Bitcoin is it. Trying to chase by some other token because somebody tried to convince you that it's a better Bitcoin is a way to get suckered into snake oil and lose all your money. I really enjoy these blockchain cruises. This is my second blockchain cruise. It's unfortunate that I'm somewhat disconnected from the internet, and I usually stream YouTube videos daily, and this is now the 4th day that I can't stream a video, and a lot of my followers are currently having panic attacks. So I really need to make a video real soon, but I do like having a way to disconnect from the internet once in a while and be involved in this kind of community and educate people on what it is, what does it mean to get involved in an ICO you may or may not understand. So I have a little bit of a contrarian perspective on these trips, but it's a much needed contrarian voice. So I am happy that these cruises exist and that I continue to be invited to them.